I'm a little bit of a connoisseur of words. I like sort of strange and interesting words, and one of my favorite words is merkin. I mentioned to Debbie the other day, she's like, what's a merkin? And I go,
no.
I'm really surprised you don't know.
Oh, no.
A merkin is a merkin is a pubic wig.
No.
A pubic wig.
No.
Yes, it is. Now, I mean, it's a whole separate question about why somebody would like want a pubic wig. It strikes me as the ultimate form of pretentiousness. Honey, we're going out to dinner. Make sure you put on your make sure you put on your merkin.
No.
Well, let me tell you why. The reason this is all a preamble, because I want you to hold on to your merkins. I'm about to discuss a topic not normally featured on this podcast. This is the topic of, thank goodness, says Debbie, of porn literacy. Now, what is your level of porn literacy? The reason I'm getting into this is because I'm reading here that the Columbia Prep School, by the way, an elite prep school in New York, is subjecting its students, this is the junior year students, to a mandatory session on pornography literacy. It's called an intersectional focus on mainstream porn. Now, who are the sickos who are doing this? By the way, this is a class that was not disclosed to the students. It was not disclosed to the parents. There's no option to withdraw from it. And it's run by this kook, Justine Fonte, who apparently teaches at another prep school called the Dalton School. She's the, quote, director of health and wellness at the Dalton School. No word about whether she wears a merkin. In any event, hold on. In any event, she apparently gets these students, 120 of them. She shows them explicit porn photos, and she tries to get them to identify them, so that they can tell the difference between porn and art. She also asks them to reveal the most searched keywords in porn and the most popular genres of pornography. Now, what is going on in our education system? Well, you know what's going on. There's an effort here not just to move away from the traditional curriculum, teach the stuff that prep schools need to be teaching, but there's an effort to degrade these students' moral feelings, to take, if you will, the moral lessons that they've learned from their parents, that it's hard enough to abide by in the culture we live in, but also now to drive this kind of sexual permissiveness through the curriculum itself. I think to me, it represents a horrible escalation. Let me say for a moment what is particularly disgusting and sick about pornography. Pornography is really not about the two people that you see, quote, having sex. Because quite frankly, they're not having sex for each other. Which is what sex is and should be about. No, they're actually having sex because of the observer. The whole act, and it is an act, is being performed for a third party that is, quote, present at this. So there's a sort of, I would say, menage a trois going on here that degrades the whole sex act and strips it of any kind of human or moral significance at all. And why these distinguished prep schools would want to be part of all this. I mean, porn literacy, really? I must confess, my porn literacy is very low. A couple of years ago, Debbie and I were going to a speaking event, and we actually had a security guard with us because of the times we live in. And we were at the airport, and he looks across, and he goes, "Hey, guys, there's Ron Jeremy." And Debbie and I were like, "What?" And then I think he caught himself because he realized that recognizing Ron Jeremy so easily, Ron Jeremy, by the way, for those of you who don't know, for those of you whose porn literacy is really low, is apparently a very famous porn star. And I think this guy, apparently knew he was able to pick Ron Jeremy out of the crowd. So he was like, "There's Ron Jeremy. Oops." And Debbie and I were like, "Oh gosh." So we would fare poorly, apparently, if we were 19 years old and juniors at the Columbia Prep School. But I think as parents, we need to know that we save so much money to send our kids to the best schools we can. And the schools operate on the pretense, we're preparing your kids for great jobs and for life and for moral wisdom and liberal learning, whereas in fact, what they're preparing our kids for is being connoisseurs of pornography.